Meet you again, and we're honored that you choose to spend a few moments with Granite Grok.
Thank you.
I always thought you were an extremely interesting candidate. Could you tell us in a few words why you chose initially to run as a Democrat a few years ago?
Yeah, well, 20 years ago, I decided to run for State House in Hawaii. Very passionate about protecting our environment, and when I was looking at which party to join, I was drawn towards the Democratic Party because it was a big tent, inclusive party that celebrated freedom of speech, that stood up for civil liberties. It was the party of Martin Luther King, the party of JFK, and a party that spoke about peace and freedom. And unfortunately, that Democratic Party is no longer here today. Today's Democratic Party is standing for the exact opposite.
And that seems to be the case. They used to speak of neocons.
Yeah.
Anyway, and the other thing is, you clearly, as an officer, you take your oath to the Constitution very clearly, very seriously. Your exit paper reads as though it could have been written by our founders.
That's a powerful statement.
Is that, in fact, your core beliefs and the Democrat Party has moved away from them?
Yes, it is. Unfortunately, today's Democratic Party has not only moved away from those founding principles of our country and the Constitution, they are taking action almost every day through their policies that are directly undermining our fundamental freedoms. They are hostile towards the freedom of speech. They are hostile towards freedom of religion, people of faith and spirituality. They are undermining the rule of law and undermining families and parents' rights, this foundational fabric of our society and civilization.
One day we could have a great conversation over that. But another quick question. I did read your website when you ran for president, and I think possibly because you had to espouse some of the party values, there were things like common sense gun control and so on. You actually answered a question on that, and you were very careful and thoughtful in the way you answered it.
Sure.
But in your exit statement, you were much stronger in support of the Second Amendment, and you even mentioned defense against tyrannical government. Is that how you really feel about the Second Amendment?
Well, because of the experiences that I've had, my understanding of the importance of the Second Amendment and our founders' intent of it, and why they said these rights shall not be infringed, has really come into focus and become more clear to me than it ever was. And so my views and positions have evolved on that as I have come to better understand what the Second Amendment really means and what they intended for it.
That's really nice. Skip's our founder, and I can't leave him without a question.
All right.
It's been very interesting to watch you over the last year or so. But with this announcement of leaving the Democrat Party, I was never able to figure this out. Was this, or has this been a very long-term, slow creeping process that you've gone through? Or was it one of those that was, I hit a tipping point and it just happened very fast?
It was one that built over time, where especially over the last 2 years under this administration, policy after policy, decision after decision, I saw very clearly how sadly the Democrat Party just no longer believes in the Constitution, and that is obviously a huge problem. It should be a huge problem for anyone and everyone who loves this country and cares about our freedoms. And it got to a point where I could no longer have that letter D next to my name. I could no longer associate myself with the Democrat Party.
And last question, and where do you think this orbit is now going to take you?
That is a great question that I don't have an answer to.
Fair enough.
I really don't know. You know, I've never chased a political title or a job. My goal in life is to try to make a positive impact and be of service to our country and the people of this country. And so whatever way I can best do that is where I will go. Right now, the best way I can do that is to try to get some great people elected to the U.S. Senate and the House of Representatives and help to try to shift the focus and priorities of the people who we have elected in Washington.
Well, thank you very much
Thank you.
for spending a few minutes with Granite Grok.
Thank you. It's great to see you both again.
Grok TV.